All right, great day, everybody. This is Matthew Britt coming at you from snowy Ottawa, Ontario. Very grateful to be here and excited for my guest today, somebody that I've actually got to know kind of indirectly over the past few years as we're both really working heavily in the freedom movement, so to speak, regenerating agriculture, helping people be self-sufficient on whatever level makes the most sense to them. And she's got an incredible business that I'm really excited to dive into, and comes from a strong background in the real estate development world. So there's going to be a lot of good lessons here. So welcome to the show, Kelly. Great to have you here, Kelly Krezek. And when I first met you, you were living in, I think, Nicaragua at the time, but now you're back in the United States. So welcome to the show, first of all.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so you've had New Earth Developments now for about 7 years. And then prior to that, you were in the finance world and the real estate world for about 12 years. And, how did you take what you were doing there and bring it into what you got going on now with New Earth Developments, where you're really helping people develop sustainable ecosystems, eco villages, large developments where they're raising capital to build out large acreages of property?
Yeah, well, I got into finance originally because I saw that there was, a major issue in the world of this concept of you need to make money to be able to survive, right? That's kind of what today's society is kind of all about. And I saw that as, my family, we didn't struggle, but there was issues regarding finances, right? There was a lot of fighting around the financial issues. And so I saw that, and I really was like, nobody should be fighting, and there shouldn't be relationship issues or divorce, because of financial problems. Because I see finance is just, it's just money. It's just numbers. It's, kind of like a means of exchange. So I really wanted to learn everything that I could about finance to be able to help people to truly thrive and be able to have all their needs met and not have to worry about money. And so I went into finance investments because I saw how, making money on your money was really neat and so forth. And so I did that in college. And then when I got out of college, I decided to get into insurance, investments, different types of savings and debt repair and things like that. And did that for a bit, and then just decided that I wanted to do something that could help people make money even faster, even if they didn't already have funds to be able to invest. And so that was real estate investing. So I got into that, approximately 2014. So that was about 11 years ago, and finance before that, and loved it so much. I was doing flips, Airbnbs, rentals, wholesale deals. I was doing some agent work. We ran a large group of, over 1,000 people that, 100 people would come every month to this meetup group around real estate investing. So, I had basically reached all of my goals in real estate investing, helping people flip, helping people learn how to do this and make money for their families. However, I recognize that there's so many major issues still in the world, and you could only keep making more and more money without actually solving what the root of the issue truly is, which I hadn't realized until later when I saw the Venus Project documentary, how it talks about, if we build our cities in this new way, we can take care of all basic needs for humanity and allow people to truly thrive, live their passions, live their purpose, solve global systemic issues. And so I saw that and I was like, okay, this feels like my true life's purpose. How can I take the skill sets that I've developed and truly create this? And so that's sort of what led me on the path of sustainable development. And it's just been amazing to incorporate, this real background of finance and real estate into the sustainable world, because as I started traveling, I wanted to research, okay, who's already doing this, like who's starting that transition to ultimately what the Venus Project talks about. And that I saw there's like over 100 eco villages in Costa Rica. This was back in 2018 that I took this trip. visited over 70 different eco-villages in Costa Rica, Bali, Thailand, Australia, different places around the US, all over to research and gather the data and understand, what's working and what's not, and what regenerative systems we could use, and gathered a database of permaculture experts, like you guys, and of regenerative systems, gray water, biodigesters, regenerative building materials. There's so much to it. And started to create that database and basically packaged it into our company now, which is New Earth Development. So we basically provide services now to eco-villages, retreat centers, people that have this beautiful heart, this beautiful vision, but maybe they don't know how to implement it and ground their vision and do the financials and create pitch decks and business plans and do project management, raise funding, all of those. So that's basically what our company provides. So we have our kind of one-on-one development services that we have our regenerative development strategists, our financial modelers, pitch deck creators, all of that are on our team that help our environmental engineers to do any feasibility analysis. And then we also have our online program to help people who maybe they don't have the budget to hire our development services, but they have this vision. And we're like, we want to proliferate this in the world, because we see when there's more and more of these types of projects, then the world's going to become a much better place, much closer to all of us thriving in that abundance. And I love that you guys have that in your name, that food forest abundance, because that's why I feel like the earth truly is so abundant.
Right.
And so just being able to help these projects and in all those ways with the online program, and we have our mastermind as well. So we offer a bunch of different things within the regenerative space. So
Outstanding. What great work you're doing, really. It's awesome how the journeys take us, right? You started off in one place thinking this is it, learning
Right.
about the financial world and real estate and how that can be a big solution for people, right? You can create a lot of wealth through real estate. We all know this.
Yeah.
But then being able to really discover the true passion after seeing that Venus Project, which I've seen that as well. Excellent, excellent show. If anybody hasn't watched it, I believe it's thevenusproject.org is where you can go check that out. But what they demonstrate there, and I agree with you, abundance is here for us. We've been fooled, though, into a scarcity-driven world.
Exactly.
And with what you're doing with New Earth Developments, it really is filling in a gap that's so needed, because the majority of our society today has been living in a convenience-driven place where someone else takes care of the major things for them. Their energy, their food, their water, their all those resources, right? But today, we don't need that. And when we take our power back, now we remove some of the levers of control that have been placed upon all of us. So I love what you're doing. And what have you saw, now that you've been doing this for 7+ years, what are some of the struggles that people are going through when they first decide, I'm curious about this and I'd like to be here living in this type of a situation, but they don't know where to start? Like, what are some of the things that you see standing out immediately as the first hurdles that people go through?
Yeah, well, that's interesting, because that's kind of where I had started from. I was like so interested in this, so wanting to live like this, but didn't know what to do or where to go or anything like that. And so just even finding other people was the first start of my journey, going into locations where these eco villages are happening, or that there's the mindset of wanting to live more sustainably. So that's kind of the first part. And then the next part is visiting these places and really getting to know what way that person wants to live. If it's in the US, if it's in Costa Rica or whatever area, what their values are, if they want to live somewhere more like luxury or more affordable, or if they want to grow their own food, just have a homestead, or if they want to build a huge community. So kind of like finding out what the path is in this area, or even supporting the mission, supporting it with some sort of trade skill or something like that. and just finding the right way to get involved. But there's a website, ic.org. It's like the Foundation for Intentional Communities.
Okay.
And that they have a whole record of all the different communities that are, most of the communities at least in the world. And so people can go and check that out and visit some of these spaces. But there's also, you can dream up a new way of doing it and, do it yourself too, if you want to take that path, if you're really passionate and you feel really strongly about creating one. And that's where we're here to help, and to have people who maybe they don't even have a real estate or development experience, and actually like guide them in the process of actually creating that. So
When people first get started here, do they often have like rosy colored glasses on and missing a lot of the challenges?
Totally. Yeah. Like it's the dream, the vision, right? Like let's
Yeah.
create this new earth, this utopia. Well, you don't have to call it utopia, but a way where everybody is truly happy and thriving in abundance. And the realities of real estate development is everything that can go wrong will go wrong, basically. You have to safeguard. One of the biggest challenges for people is making sure that they have proper financial planning from the very beginning, because there's so much to incorporate. You have a regular development project, which is a lot, but then when you add on top of that all the regenerative systems and the energy systems and the the permaculture, all the details, and also who's going to do all that work. You don't just have now your contractor, your architect, and that's pretty much all you need, or your engineers. You're working with now a lot more team, a lot more different people that got to bring in different specialties. So it's a pioneer industry right now. Like you can't really just come into it and know exactly what to do unless you have really deep help. So we're building those systems so that people can know what to do more. So the financial struggles that I've seen a lot of projects have is, maybe they have self-funding. So they go and they buy land, they're super excited about it, and they just start doing things. But eventually the money runs out, right? And then they're like, okay, well, we don't even have enough revenue to keep going. So you want to really plan everything out, even if you have your own funding, or especially, of course, if you're raising funding, because you want to be diligent with the investors' money, but plan it all out so that you know what everything's going to cost in as much detail as you can know at the time. And then you have that foundation to then adjust as you go forward. But then you feel super confident in your project, and your investors feel confident in your project, and you know that you're going to be working on the first things that make the most revenue, or at least make some revenue for you to be able to keep going in what you're doing. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges, as well as, zoning, permitting, dealing with the city. So you have to check all of that stuff before you buy land, because that could hold up all of your plans too. So yeah, I think those are probably the two biggest areas, and of course finding the right people that are skilled to be able to work on the project with.
After visiting, would you say roughly 70 different eco villages?
Mm-hmm.
What did you wow. What did you see there? What were some of the real big wins that people were experiencing? And then what were some of the not so good things that were going on?
Yeah. Well, I always point out La Ecovia in Costa Rica. That's one of my favorite eco villages, because it incorporates the regular real estate development model with the regenerative systems very well. It's got regular, it's got like what a regular subdivision would look like, nothing like the US, but like with houses and roads and things like that. It's not just like there's just shacks all over the place. It's got real infrastructure, and it has I think it's recycled like roads that are made with recycled materials, which is awesome. everywhere along the roads, in between the houses is nature. It's food forests throughout. We've got a beautiful mandala garden. The homes are mainly built with sustainable materials. They're all custom built. So there you see some cool, unique structures, some biophilic design or some unique organic design. And then there's like the biodigester system as well. Instead of using typical sewer or septic, it's all done through biodigesters. And they have an amazing open school too. So not only do they have the community, they have kids can go to the school. They love going to school because they're learning about what they're fascinated by, rather than just the typical way of sit at a desk and learn only these things and nothing else. They're learning from like real experience. So that's one that I really always highlight, and think that they're doing a lot of things well, because they took sort of what's working now and integrated all the regenerative aspects into it. Yeah. And then as far as what's not, what I saw that maybe wasn't working so well is, there's always a place for every single project type, right? But yeah, the ones that are maybe like they didn't plan properly, so the structures are molding or something like that. They didn't think about the climate and the types of materials that they're using. So those sort of things are things to look out for, or the projects that they run out of money and have to like try to figure things out last minute and create a lot of stress, because you don't want to be creating any of these types of projects with stress. There might be some stress, some good stress, but you want to, for the most part, be like clear and calm and good with everything. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I would like, my image of a lot of them is communal, right? Sharing a lot of everything. And although I agree with a lot of sharing, I think the way that I would feel it would operate the best is that everybody's got their own piece that's theirs. And that from there, nobody gets to tell you what to do on your piece. That's yours. I'll leave you alone on yours. You leave me alone on mine. And then the community spaces, we've got our rules and expectations there. But when everything is like very shared and we're trying to control everybody in that shared environment, I personally would believe a lot more challenges would show up. And based on kind of what I've heard, it seems to be that is true. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the number one thing that why communities fail is due to people problems. So sharing spaces can sometimes cause issues. Like, if you have roommates in a house, it's causing more issues than if you're just living in your own house. However, that way of living is also great if you can integrate like the sociocratic principles, I like to call it, the sociocratic way of living, where you have regular meetings and you're talking about things regularly, and using nonviolent conflict resolution and things like that can help with the ones that are more shared. And yeah, I think every project is different in terms of what they want, but I've definitely seen what may work best is having the separate spaces, because there's definitely a thing in pride and ownership, and it doesn't even have to be ownership. We can say it's stewardship, or we can have those community land trusts, as long as that stewardship is known where that stewardship is, whether it's the house, whether it's the land around the house, and that feeling of a sense of kind of having pride and ownership is part of it. And I've seen for some shared spaces, and especially when there's a lot of chores to do, like not even in the house, but just out on the land, when you have to come in, you have to work a certain amount of hours to be able to be a part of it. It could work for some, depending on the skill sets though. So for example, my skill sets are definitely beyond just working on the land or cooking some food, but that's what the farm or the community needs. I've spent some time in a community where, I was the cook for, every other dinner or something like that. And then I had some chores out on the land, and I love getting out on the land. But when you have to spend a certain amount of hours doing that, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, am I living my passion or my purpose that I'm truly meant to, where I can help so many people with building these projects? And you kind of get stifled in a way through that, unless you're a chef, you're a permaculture expert, and that is your job, and that's what you're coming there to do. And then totally that exchange works. So I think, yeah, it all depends on the person and the project, but in general, it's nice to have sort of those separated spaces.
Yeah, I would take kind of lessons from the Amish is kind of what comes to mind, where you've got a community of people who really appear to live in harmony and have their own spaces, but they also work together to get things done for the community, right? We're going to put up a barn. Everyone comes over, the men all get together. Maybe some of the women are there too, but the people come together. They've got a mission. One day that thing is built, right? And then everybody gets to go home, back to their own space and manage that. But they've all contributed. So if anybody ever needs anything, people get to go and work in their strengths. And at the times when it's all needed, works really, really well. When that's done, they get to go away, have their own private space again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the hippie movement, I guess, so to speak, the spiritual communities are often the ones, at least when you portray it in the movies, especially, is the ones who seem to be attracted to the eco villages. I know it's not that way in reality, although I'm sure there is a lot of that. But, you can definitely see part of that community sometimes being like, the moon cycle isn't right now, so I don't feel like it's my job to work at the moment. It's what a thing to have to overcome, because no one else really cares at that point. It's time for us to get something done, so I don't care where the moon is, right? Let's go to work.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Definitely, I feel like I have the mindset of a hippie, but I also have the work ethic of, a businesswoman. So I call myself
Yes.
a business hippie, right?
Yep.
And I think that's what we're all recognizing is the hippies in, the 60s and 70s, they didn't have the business sense. They were opening their mind. They were wanting to live in this new way, in peace and love, and all that was so beautiful. But ultimately, like, it couldn't sustain itself, because when we're only in those higher levels of just only peace, only love, and not willing to go through the difficulties of life, it's hard. You can't really build much from that place. And so I think a lot of people struggle with that. But in this new age, I see that people are integrating the business sense with the beautiful values of the peace and the love, and how we can create more of that. So that's really what excites me, is I see more and more people coming into that space. And that's why we built the company too, is like, we need to help people who have those values, because that's, if we build from that type of space, it's just going to be amazing what we can create. And that's the whole concept of, these communities, is you have your own, grow your own food, have your own water, your own energy systems. That's true abundance. And when you can have that abundance, you're not worried then about the survival, or, you're not living in scarcity anymore. You're basically taking yourself out of that concept of scarcity that has been created in modern society. And I think that's what the world really needs right now, in many different places around the world. So
yeah, now after 9 years of doing this, I'm sure when you first started, the awareness of the population was fairly low. Are you seeing it climbing rapidly these days? Are more and more people looking for what you have to offer?
yeah, most definitely. I mean, I could barely find anybody in the beginning of this whole thing. And maybe that was just because the bubble I was in, being from Sacramento, California, there's not much happening there. Went to Southern California and San Diego area and started finding community in that sense. but yeah, so it's just been taking off from there. As far as how many people, it's been wild how many people want to do this now. I didn't think we had that big of a market. I'm like, yeah, we'll help some people, but never expected, now our course is filled with, I don't know, 70 to 80 students. It's only been, a couple of years since we've really been doing it, and we haven't even done any big marketing yet. We just started doing Facebook ads because we realized, we wanted to try it out. And it's amazing how many people have this vision and want to create this. And it seems like almost every person I talk to now is like, oh, I have land, I want to do that. Or, oh yeah, I've had that vision for years. Or, oh, I'm working on that with somebody. Or, oh, I've heard of that before. It's actually starting to become more mainstream, or at least in my bubble it is. And I'm seeing it grow for sure. And I'm going into those real estate networking spaces and speaking about it, and people are asking questions, people are curious, people are wanting to know. So I see this as the new way to build. And when we're strong in that and we see that as truth, it's going to eventually happen. I mean, it's a lot of the bigger development companies. I used to work with Verdani Partners, and they help with creating certifications for large scale development companies like GID, Howard Hughes, Jamestown, and they're just getting multi-million-dollar investments for implementing these more green, sustainable practices through certifications. So there's definitely large investors that are looking specifically for projects like this. So it's just about tapping into that and showing the investors like what it is that they want to see, and making sure a project is feasible.
Now, as cities continue to expand, have you found any opportunities with working in the expansion areas, the new suburbs? Have you had any developers kind of take this on as hey, I can take some of the, the best of the way the world has been moving, as well as some of the concepts and things that are possible with the sustainability, eco-village type of locations, and bring that into suburban and urban development?
Yeah, I think that's probably
cool.
one of the most perfect spots to be, is like 30 minutes to an hour outside of a city, because then people still have that access. They don't feel isolated. It's going to gain more popularity. And because there are things that, eventually we can build cities, right? That's the goal. But right now we're just kind of testing it and making sure we're good in the whole industry, the eco-village space. There's a project here in Austin. It's about maybe 30 minutes to an hour, maybe 45 from the city. And they're building like 100 homes on 100 acres. It's more of a luxury project, but there's all the amenities that you would want, and the spa, and regenerative systems integrated. And so I'm seeing it happen right here. And, it's really exciting that they got the funding. They actually got the funding through our chief investment officer. So, so basically, we have a great team of people that have seen this happen and are making this happen. And I think that the suburb, like we can create new suburbs, right? Rather than being the typical suburb, like we could have suburbs of cities that are now the eco-village type of space. And especially when you can integrate things like zero waste grocery stores, sustainable retail shops, restaurants, plant-based or organic type of restaurants, things that are still in the regenerative or sustainable world, but give access to people that actually live there, that they don't have to go into the cities. And when people can see that, they're like, oh, I don't need a city anymore. I have everything that I need right here. So that's what we want to create next.
Yeah, like I worked in the trades when I first moved to Ottawa. I used to finish hardwood stairs and railings while I went to school. I also worked at the school gym at the same time, but I got to spend a lot of time in the expansion of this city, seeing the new, suburban developments. And it was just pack as many homes as you can into the area, have 3 or 4 different variations of homes, very minimal green space, right? Like a small front yard, a teeny tiny backyard, but everything was just very boring. No sustainability ever taken into consideration. No community really taken into consideration, right? It was fences everywhere, one central park, but nothing to drive a community together. It was really all keeping everybody apart.
Yep.
And I love that mentality of being able to implement the ideas of the new earth, the abundance mentality, the eco village type of concept into suburban development. Because if we look at, the climate change narrative as an example, where's it getting hotter? It's not everywhere, but in the concrete jungle, it definitely is, right? That concrete retains heat. So temperatures in major cities are rising. And it's because we've eliminated the green and we've increased the heat holding materials, the concrete. And the more of that happens, the easier it is to tell this story that we've got this severe climate changing issue. And I don't want to go down any, type of conspiracy rabbit hole around that. But, the fact of the matter is it's hotter in the cities. And it's because of that. And implementing the things that you do is a phenomenal solution. So, going that direction, kind of on that topic, what do you think that people can be doing today to influence the development of their cities to favor these type of solutions that you provide?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways. You could start with actually going into the city and speaking to them about implementing some of these regenerative systems or accepting them. So, and then also, of course, if you're planning to build a project yourself, having that master plan incorporate a lot of these, taking it to the city and really working with them on, okay, you guys, normally you don't allow biodigester systems, but you allow septic. Well, what if we, figured out a way that we could get this through and permit this new way of doing it? Or they did it in San Diego, where it's like the straw bale housing got permitted there, and tiny homes and so forth in California. And I'm just seeing that as, we can make changes among cities in the planning departments and the permitting and the building codes and regulations. If we really try, it takes a long time, but once it's done forever, right? And so we can change these things and get engineers to look at, the materials that we're building with and make sure it's structural and proper, and show that to the city and have all the documents and all those things. So that's definitely a way of doing it. And, I've seen a lot of these suburban developments, like you mentioned, it's just, some small grass and houses crammed together. And it's just so sad, it's so sad to see like these large nature areas, previous nature areas, just get completely clear cut. And so also implementing practices to preserve nature, even when development is happening there. Because I'm sure there was so many big trees, and then they just cut everything and only plant new small trees because it doesn't go within their plan. Well, instead, we could actually build around the trees and, create different curvatures of the roads or the way that the houses are. It doesn't have to be exactly a perfect grid every time, right? I've seen like near our house, we live in a kind of a suburb area. We'll get to the eco village soon, but we're here for now, and we're going to be building a home eventually that will be fully regenerative and integrated in nature. But yeah, here we see like deer, and I'm sure a lot of people do in their yards or, right on the outskirts. Imagine how many more animals' homes we have destroyed and built houses on. So I think showcasing these sorts of things to the cities, showing how we can live in harmony with that nature, how we can build with integrating food, or even having permaculture food gardens in the cities, like
Yeah.
that's a start too. Or you can also do a lot of things within cities where you make modifications to have less of that heat, such as the cool roofs, white reflective roofs, rooftop gardens, things of that nature, planting more trees, creating more gardens, things like that. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. It's just, who's going to take the time to do it? And I hope a lot of people are. And I think once we get more of these eco villages built, people will be able to walk in them and see, oh, wow, why would I want to live any other way? This is amazing. And that's when it's really going to sell people, is when they're created and people start experiencing it, right?
Yeah, there's a massive undercurrent of people who are looking for this stuff. And now it's a matter of how do we get them all connected, talking to one another, and then doing what they can in a unified front to have influence inside their cities. I think that's a hurdle that people like you and I need to think about solutions and help overcome that hurdle, because there is strength in numbers. We know that. We know that a lot of times right now we're not showing up, right? Decisions are being made at the city level, and the people who are showing up are the ones getting the things they want done, right? The builders, they want density. They want to make more money in that same piece of property, right? Let's say they've got 50 acres to build on. If they can get 400 homes or 500 homes or 600 homes, that's more revenue for them. Whereas because we're not showing up, we don't have a unified front of people going to talk about this stuff. They're not hearing another side of the story. So of course the developer is going to win, right? So it's like, again, thinking of like solutions here, what would be something that would come to your mind about how we can even get people in local areas who are aware of this stuff and want to make change? How can we help them find other people? And then maybe even steps, since you've worked a lot, I'm assuming, with getting permits done, with influencing city on development projects. What are some of the thoughts that kind of come to your head around a solution to this?
Yeah, it's definitely true. I know a lot of developers, it's a money thing for them. It's like anything else like that you do for work or for a living, for most of society, is just like, oh, it's just like, how can we make the most money off of this? They don't really think about it. And so it's just educating, right? It's educating the developers, saying why it's such a better way, showcasing the benefit to them, the benefit to the planet, which some people don't understand the larger effects that we have on the planet. So sometimes it's hard to have them share with them specifically about the planet impacts. But when you look at it from, how it could benefit them, they can get tax credits, they can get operational cost savings, they can get better marketing, more people will be attracted to living with better amenities and things. We can showcase the health, which also helps with marketing, the health of living there. So when you share all of these different things with developers, I think that's one way. And then also, so you can go to these like meetup groups, like real estate meetup groups, online, meetup.com and things like that. And then also, if you're building a project, go into the city planning department. You can literally just look up, city planning department in your specific area and start talking to them about this, and start up the conversation. I haven't done that specifically without having a project to present and talk about. But anybody could really do it, I'm sure. And And so, yeah, I think that would be a good start, finding the meetups, also creating meetups around people who are into the sustainability too, and then inviting the developers into it. So the developers can see, oh, wow, yeah, this is actually a thing. And okay, this is how I start to do this. Because some developers are actually really interested in it. They just really don't know much about it. So I think that's a key piece, and just starting to get out there in our local areas and start talking about it.
Yeah, I love that. I like the mentality of get the people together first, then bring the developers into that too, because that's definitely a way to influence them and show, hey, this isn't just me coming to talk to you. We've got a group of people that are already on board, and this
Mhm.
is potentially a whole bunch of new customers for you if you'll adopt some of these practices.
Exactly. Yeah. I think people need to see how big the market really is. So, yeah, we're wanting to tap more into that with our marketing that we're going to be doing for projects, is gaining these large lists of people who, like, yes, I would live like that. There's, I think, over 200 million in sales with GeoShip. You know about GeoShip?
Yeah,
They're,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do.
yeah,
Yeah.
a revolutionary building company with building with regenerative materials.
Hmm.
And I just can't believe how many people are already purchasing these, because they see this innovation, they see the health of it, they want to live more in harmony with nature, having like biophilic sacred geometry shapes, and this new material that's not impactful on their health in any negative way. And when we see that's already happening, there's already a market for that. Just imagine the market for all the eco villages are even greater than the just people who purchase GeoShip. So I
Yeah.
know that they're out there. So it's just showcasing that people do want to live this way.
Very true. I just went to GeoShip's WeFunder page. They closed their last round in December, and they raised 8.5 million from 1,228 investors. And you're right, their sales pipeline, over $200 million in sales pipeline, 1,351 domes already reserved with deposits. So
Mhm.
that's a substantial amount of people that are ready to do this stuff. And obviously, the dollars are a way we get to vote, right? We can use our money to do things that we value and believe in. And unfortunately, a lot of people right now have been putting their dollars into places they don't really agree with it, but they do it out of whatever, convenience often is a big one. But I
Mhm.
think a lot of the realization over the past 5 years, especially, that our systems are fragile, is making people say, I want to find a better way. And I'm willing to use my money to go after that and use my dollars to be a solution to some of these big issues that I've been experiencing. So it's an awesome time to be alive. And for you, just a perfect time. You got into this space very early where it was hard to find people, but I know based on what I do for a career that there's a massive undercurrent of people who are looking for solutions to these, and you guys have positioned yourself incredibly well as a solution for people who are looking for this. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
well done seeing the future.
thank you. Yes. No, that's part of it. I'm a projector in human design, so I
Yeah.
can see, the future where everything is eco villages and the Venus Project, and I know that
Yeah.
this is the natural evolutionary path of humanity, because we always want to improve ourselves, and there's just the old systems that are kind of tying it back, but I truly believe that this is the direction that the world is going. And so we're just the pioneers, we're the first ones. So, whenever you're the first ones, they'll call you crazy or say why it won't work. But deep down in your soul that this is the direction that the world is really going. So it is really exciting. And there's a lot of opportunities in terms of people that do have a large funds that are investing in regenerative projects, and all these documentaries that have been coming out have been waking a lot of people up. A lot of people woke up from COVID happening, realizing we can't depend on, our grocery store or our utility companies or things like that, and wanting to live in a new way or working remotely and so forth. So I think that, we're definitely going the right direction, getting little wake up calls, and it's so exciting. It's all happening.
Yeah. And you and I also have a mutual friend in Michael Matsenchuk with
Mm-hmm.
Human Connector, and you brought up the human design. If anybody doesn't know about that, I would highly recommend you go to this website here, and I'll put it up on the screen. It's humanconnector.net. He's got an incredible program there, which you can actually go and get your human design all done, so you can know, as Kelly was mentioned, she's a projector. You can go and get your human design figured out. It's very, very cool. As far as what's going on with New Earth development, what are some of the exciting projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, well, since you brought up Michael, I should talk to you about the project we're working on with him.
Yeah.
He's an awesome human. He's just a genius in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And
I work with him with Unitree, and I have for
nice.
2.5 years now.
Oh, okay, amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's mentioning that to me. I actually talked to him earlier today. funny thing. And so we're actually working on a new project together, based on our online program that
Okay.
helps projects, with all the pre-development planning stages, the vision and mission clarity, the development planning, revenue planning, the pitch decks, presentation, business plans, and then investors and fundraising. So that whole process, is an entire course. We share the templates, all of those things. And if anybody wants to check it out, they can check out our masterclass on our website, which we can share at the end. But basically, what we're working on with Michael is being able to streamline and optimize all of this so that the process is even easier for people. So instead of having to know everything about the financial world or hiring a financial modeler to come on their team, they can just fill out a form. And this is a software program. Of course, Michael's in software. They fill out the form, and then basically that form then integrates all the information for their development project. And we walk them through the form step by step, as if they're needing any support through the process, through videos and things. We haven't fully built out the software yet. We've started, so we've gotten a good amount done, but it's all based on our financial model. So basically they fill out that form, and then it automatically populates their whole financial model for them. They can adjust the investment analysis to a certain investment type that they want to get, whether it's equity or debt, and what the percentages are. So they have that, and that's a really good grounding, and it automates. So they'll be able to know generally if their project is feasible to be able to move forward and start editing and going into detail on some of those things, which they can do on the software. And then once they have that, they can create a pitch deck. So pitch deck and business plan creation will be the next stages. We'll first start with the financial model, and then the pitch deck can be created through the information that they've input into the form, and additional information they will input. And then it comes out with, their pitch deck with their branding and all their financials on there, based on templates that we currently have, and information into the business plan. And now with AI being able to scrape the web super easily for the specific location, it's going to become a lot easier. So then they just have all their materials that were built, within a super fast timeline. Now they don't have to spend months and months and years sometimes on this pre-development planning process. And they can review that information, edit it, adjust it, and then come out to an investor and say, hey, this is the project we want to do. This is the land we want to buy. What do you think? They look it over. If everything looks good, then, it could be a lot easier for these projects to be created. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I think we're getting close, probably within the next year for sure, because I never want to say sooner than that, but it could be sooner than that. So
Yeah. Are the majority of people who come to see you looking at developing larger pieces of property to have it actually be multifamily on it? Or are you working with people who also, like, they're doing this for themselves, but they want to acquire a piece of property in maybe a different country and they want to develop it in a sustainable, regenerative way? Are you working with both of those?
Yeah, we've worked
Yeah.
on projects from 2.5 acres, maybe just a couple of house or a few houses, and a garden and things, all the way up to 4,000 acres. So we've done everything across the board and in many different countries around the world, because every country, every project needs a different feasibility studies and analysis on that specific climate, that specific location, the permits, the zoning, and so forth. So we basically can help projects all over the world. We do come in person when we're needed to, but we can do a lot of that online and then work with an on-the-ground project manager. So that's how we can scale so much, as we can really, work from anywhere in the world.
Do you have any families who are doing it just for themselves, not multifamily?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not so you're asking like a single home that they're not having any other
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess what I was thinking of was we do help projects that's maybe like one or two houses, but if it's just for themselves alone, we don't attract that many people that just want that, because usually the people have the grand visions that come to us. But we would work with people who want to just do like one regenerative home just for themselves. That's also exciting to us, because every home is a model, or is a showcase that we can show to the world. Hey, look, this can be built, and then other people can get interested and build in the same way. And they can also, the people who build the home can see the benefits and feel that benefit. So the more that we do that, we're actually getting surveys and information of what that's like to live in those types of homes, which there hasn't been that much data on yet. So we'll do any size project, really, depending on what the person wants to do.
I can see some good collaboration opportunities for us in kind of two ways. One being with our Freedom Farm Academy business model, a lot of these are individual families buying and building these locations, but sometimes they don't have the capital to fulfill the whole project, or they're looking to buy land with the intention of building something like this in the future and don't know how to properly build the whole business plan, financial models, everything that encompasses it in order to produce a great result. And the other side is that we're having larger development opportunities come to us too, where they may want to be integrating a Freedom Farm Academy in that location, but around it, they're going to have another 250 homes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we don't currently have that stuff in place as well as we could. And I think it would be a huge value add, to be able to go include it in the Freedom Farm Academy design and system that we'll have there. It's everything. Here's how to figure out your financial model for your particular area based on how much acreage that you have, and everything we want to put into this particular location. I think there's some really, really good crossover opportunities here with that. So once we're done here, let's kind of keep that conversation going.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's so many awesome projects that, they want to integrate this, and we're so excited to be able to support, because we want to see projects be successful. And I think when projects don't get that support, and, maybe they don't have the background in it, there's a lot of complications that come up. So yeah, we'd be happy to be helpful in terms of any projects that are building homes integrated with permaculture. They want to incorporate the regenerative building materials and regenerative systems, and get our team on board. So yeah, if anybody wants to chat with our our team. We have the contact page on our website as well.
Okay, great. My vision is 10,000 of these demonstration locations around the world, right? Because if we want to inspire a massive shift in consciousness and have people adopt this at a rapid rate and really create the abundance, I call them abundance communities, being able to create abundance communities everywhere, we need people to see what's possible. Because right now there's just such a gap in what they believe and what is actually real. And what they believe, they usually hold an image in their head because it's what they've saw before. And if they haven't seen something different, words that we use don't change the image, right? They have to actually see it. And by seeing it, experiencing it, trying it, that changes the image. And we need a lot of them because we want to inspire, hundreds of millions of people to move to what we believe is a better way, where they've taken back some of their power, meaning they're in control of producing some or all of their food on their property. It's taking less work than caring for a traditional lawn, and it's producing them poison-free food finally, instead of what they're finding at most grocery stores today, which is not that. And it's just not going to happen with great marketing, right? Us running ads or doing shows like this, that's not going to be the thing. This will be something that creates curiosity. But even once they're curious, it's hard to actually have them get it and want to implement it without seeing it. And we've realized that now over the past 4 years, after talking to thousands and thousands of people, that it was the missing link, right? Yeah. And the demonstration sites, and I'm sure, you'd probably agree. That's why you went and checked out 70 eco villages. You got to experience it, right? Those were all demonstration opportunities for you to see what's going on, what's working, what's possible, what can I do, and how can I be a part of it? So similar type of thing here with this model. And I think there's just a beautiful fit between our two organizations.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so true. I think, we need to build these so that people can see it. And I think it's just going to explode from there. One of the, projects we're working on is, we were for a long time trying to get our project in Costa Rica going. But for one reason or another, just the land was the most difficult part, where it was like either a seller changed their mind or raised the price, or there was legal issues or some crazy thing. And so we had been pre-approved for 26 million to be invested into our project there. But yeah, for one reason or another, it just wasn't working out. And so when we came here, we started asking investors, if we did a project in Austin, would you fund that project? And they said it's way easier to get it funded in the US. And so that's what we're finding. We're working with a lot of big funds right now. So the opportunities are just endless for what can be created here. And so, we've created our project called Abundancia, which is abundance in Spanish. So I love your concept of abundance communities. That's exactly what it symbolizes. And so that's going to be a big step for us. But in order to get to those large projects where that was like, 300 homes, the concept is 300 homes, 150 rentals, 50 different types of commercial spaces and amenities mixed in for that lifestyle piece. And what I'm seeing is, we need to really, now that we moved here, we need to understand Austin. We need to understand the team, the costs, the permitting, all of those things, because we were in Costa Rica for so long. We know all that like the back of our hand. So now we're just starting with a small, tiny home, and then we're going to do a regenerative wellness center with a tiny home village around it and some domes. And so what I encourage everybody to do is, yes, maybe we have these very large visions, but really testing each different piece one at a time in exactly the way that you want to do it in your specific location that you'll be building the larger project, I think is the way that we're really going to get there. And it requires so much patience because we all just want to be living that way and it to happen now. But, it's a long-term journey. And that's why we're doing this, is because we see that this is going to set us up for 7 generations in the future, right? So we just need to take the long, slow path and build it one step at a time. And eventually the more houses, the more wellness centers and tiny home villages, and then housing developments, and then whole eco villages that are created with these systems in mind. It's just going to be exponential growth from there.
Yeah. If someone's looking for land, do you help them with that as well?
Yeah, well, we definitely want to help with the land part, because we need to assess whether that land is right for their specific vision. And sometimes the vision will be adapted to the land as well. So if we can be in the due diligence process for the land purchase, that's a great place to be. So we do a lot of the due diligence management, finding the right people to come out and do the topography studies, hydrology, soil studies, the permaculture maps, all of those things that need to be done, the feasibility during that stage. Then that's the ideal situation.
Okay. So people can really reach out to you at whatever stage they're in their process, right?
Yeah, whether you're just
get started.
Yeah, whether you just have the vision, or whether you already own land, or whether you're already in building process and you just need some extra input on, any regenerative systems or project management help or support, or just any sort of part in it, or raising funding as well. We help a lot of projects in the fundraise process. So we're going to be creating our project financing funnel. We currently have a link that people can go to put in their information for their project if they want to get into our project financing. But for now, I would say just to email us, or fill out the contact form on our website, or email info@newearthdevelopment.org. And that's the way we've been helping projects in many different areas. But yeah, financing is a big one for a lot of projects. But in order to get financing, they need all the other stuff too. So
yeah, outstanding. And best place to go to find you guys is at the website that's displayed here on the page, right?
Yep. newearthdevelopment.org.
Okay. As far as where else people can find you, are you anywhere else? Have you any other links you want to share?
Sure. Yeah, we're actually going to be doing a lot more social media. Right now, we've been really quiet on social media, except for the ads. But we haven't had anybody posting or anything. But we have so much to share, so much insights in our portfolio and our team, and so if people want to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, that would be amazing. So we can continue growing that and keep sharing the message. So the Instagram is New Earth Development, @New Earth Development with no spaces. And then the Facebook is New Earth Development as well. You'll see our little logo that looks like the crystal spiral, sacred geometric design as the profile picture. So you should be able to find us on there.
Facebook.com/New Earth Development.
It might be. Yeah. I can't know of the link right off the top of my head. There might have been another one as well.
I can pull it up here and I'll put it in the page.
Yeah, I can also look it up.
Yeah, it's newearthdevelopment.org.
Okay, great.
We'll have that just scroll across the bottom here for a second, so people can see that one and go find you guys both on Instagram and Facebook.
Thanks.
Well, Kelly, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. Is there any last thoughts you want to share before we wrap up?
No, yeah, thank you for having me. It's been awesome talking with you. I'm really excited. We're on the same path together and so complementary in what we can do. And yeah, if anybody wants any support or any help, don't hesitate to reach out, or even just send us an email letting us know about your project, and so we can have it in our Rolodex for people to know about. So yeah, we just want to be here to share the message and make this vision of the new Earth a reality. So we are slowly but steadily making that happen, and it really is in different places around the world that you go to. It really feels like the new Earth, like in different eco villages and things. So we're starting to ground that in. So yeah, excited to expand that even more, and glad to be here.
Hey, well, thank you for joining me on Seeds of Abundance. Thank you for your leadership. You've been in this space a long time. You have been a pioneer, so to speak, and we need leadership today. This is really a time where people need to step into their power and be a leader for things that they believe in. And you have definitely done an excellent job doing so. So I just wanted to acknowledge that for yourself. And 9 years as an early pioneer in this space, it takes a lot of grit and determination and discipline to stick with something when a lot of people aren't ready for it, right? And because you've done so, you're going to be rewarded very well for that, and not only financially, but in the gratitude, the quality of life that you get to experience by sticking through it, by being able to help so many other people realize their dreams, right? You're adding a lot of value to the marketplace. And I know, just based on what you're doing, that really is important to you. And I just want to, acknowledge that. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. That really means the world to hear that, because that really is our mission in our company and in my life. And it's not always the easiest path, but to know that we're making an impact and really helping a lot of people, I really appreciate hearing that feedback. And yeah, I have to say, same to you guys. You guys are really making way for permaculture and food forests and abundance of food and so much more to really happen in the world. So I so appreciate all the work that you're doing, and really glad that we can be collaborating together.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and thanks to our audience. If you love what you heard today, please make sure to share this. People need to hear this message. And if you are thinking about any sort of development when it comes to sustainable living, eco-village, even something for yourself and your family, you want to build a family compound or whatever it is, Kelly and her team at New Earth Development can be a great resource for you. So please reach out. They'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Seeds of Abundance. If you enjoyed the show, like, subscribe, leave some comments, and share it out to the world, because more people need to hear what's possible from the great people that we have on this show. So thank you again. And the show's officially over. Have an amazing day, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.